Hello and welcome to WINOL Games.
Coming up on today's show,
Bungie resurrects the game that started it all with Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary.
we explore the final chapter of Ezio Auditore's story in Assassin's Creed Revelations.
And we hit top gear with Need for Speed The Run. A decade ago, a relatively unknown developer began a legend.
Now, several games and a library of fan fiction later, we go back to where it all began, the remastering of Halo Combat Evolved.
Halo. It's finished.
No. I think we're just getting started.
Full disclosure, I'm a veteran of Halo, having played and enjoyed every instalment.
And I've never played one before, so we've got both sides here, a noob
And a virtuoso.
Go over yourself.
I've earned my right.
Oh, I'll go first, shall I? I found the game to be a great deal of fun. The campaign eases you in, and whilst the gameplay mechanics are a little rusty, they're very easy to get used to and have you killing aliens effectively in no time.
Yeah, it feels a little as though when Bungie were redecorating, they didn't change any of the basic movement functions. And whilst not directly a bad thing, it does feel a little clunky. As well as this, the graphics themselves are not up to the standard of previous games. Maybe to point out that the game is not new, simply reborn.
Multiplayer is on something of a different level. Not more difficult exactly, but very hard to get to grips with. Simply because most of the people playing are at a very high skill level.
The multiplayer runs off a different engine to the campaign and is essentially the same experience as Halo Reach, the last game in the series.
That isn't to say that there's nothing new in the multiplayer. Classic maps have been remade for the Reach engine for both multiplayer and Firefight, the wave-style survival mode.
I think Bungie have been quite clever in making this game, not simply as a way to con gamers out of their money with something that isn't new, but many fans didn't start playing until Halo 2, as it was the first time it was out on Xbox 360. So it's an opportunity to play without having to go through the bother of getting an original Xbox console.
Now, get your jetpacks on and get stuck in.
Now, to Constantinople.
Yeah.
Master Assassin Ezio Auditore returns for the final time in Assassin's Creed Revelations.
I can't remind your eyes, your face.
Killing evil Templars, solving puzzles left by his ancestor Altair, and generally being a much more athletic 52-year-old than any I know of.
The fourth game in the series, we continue following Desmond, one of the most boring protagonists in gaming history, looking through Ezio's eyes into the year 1511, who then in turn looks through the eyes of Altair 300 years before this.
My head hurts.
That's nothing new to the series, which questions what you think you know about the history of the world. So much so that this game, like all the others, stresses that it was created by a team of people of various beliefs and religious views.
Revelations is as pretty as we've come to expect. Ancient Istanbul wrought in minute detail, every single ledge, parapet and tower spire can be interacted with.
Needless to say, maps of such enormous scale don't always flow perfectly and can interrupt what can otherwise be a seamless rooftop free run into a jarring, frustrating fall to your death, or desynchronization.
For the first time in the series, we actually start to learn a little about Desmond's past. It's about time he got a little more depth, rather than simply being a hostage or a runaway, doing exactly what he's told and never having much of an opinion.
Bit like you then, really.
Yes, sir.
You also have a box of tissues ready. Be sensible, because Altair's story truly is heartbreaking.
If you enjoy the story of the game and you've not played Assassin's Creed before, you've probably made a mistake. Jumping into this game with no idea what's going on would be like learning to ride a bike during an earthquake.
But if you want excellent gameplay mechanics, immersive fun and assassinating every unsuspecting enemy you can, then by all means, enter the Animus. And now, yet another Need for Speed game. Yay!
The best racers ever assembled. The purse is 25 million. You ready?
Need for Speed The Run is another in a long line of racing games. This edition takes us from San Francisco to Las Vegas, utilising a very, very long race broken up into sections for the majority of the game.
In a first for Need for Speed games, you have the opportunity to get outside your car, but the out-of-car sections only really act as a break from more racing. Who wants to race when they've bought a racing game?
Call me a cynic, but if you want to play foot sections, why not play something like GTA?
Need for Speed is a racer, and a fairly adept one, provides a balance between the realism of Gran Turismo and the insanity of Burnout.
Cars can be improved, new cars can be unlocked, different modes can be played from races between 250 people to one-on-ones.
It's an incredibly pretty game, some of the visuals are truly astonishing. The game opens with a close-up shot of the protagonist's face.
It took us a little while to realise that it was game graphics rather than a properly filmed movie sequence.
It's in the eyes.
If you like the previous games in the series, you'll no doubt enjoy this instalment, but if driving games aren't your thing,
Don't bother.
And on that note, that's all for this week's WINOL Games.
See you online.